tuning in into the last feed, I'm going to say it again. We're never going to escape Bruce Wayne's origin story. I told you. I'm hung up on that.
He has to stop this. I mean, it's the truth though, but at least it wasn't, it just went straight to the point though. It did go straight to the point. Walking out, boom.
Snyder did it in BVS. I think we got enough there. We shouldn't have another Batman origin for the next decade.
But the only reason I would say yes to the Batman origin, not the whole thing, but you want other people to know, because think about it's for other generations.
Hold on, before we continue.
But no, just say, let's just say that's my first movie, my first. That's what I'm saying. Like, from that, no, but just saying though, you never know. You never know. Just because you in it, somebody else is in it, don't mean that another person is in it. So anyway, it's not a Batman movie. We're moving on. Thank you. So now back to the Joker.
Okay, well, welcome everyone to another installment of Brick Wall Reviews, where we review films and also have various discrepancies on longevity.
Okay.
This is our Joker review. For those of you who are just tuning in and have not seen the Joker,
we highly recommend it.
We highly recommend it, and we spoiled something for you that
I don't think that's spoiled. I mean, anyway, so we will highly recommend the film. It's not what you would expect it to be.
Yes, amid all the controversy and everything that's going on around the release of the film, this is actually, in my opinion, and I've been pretty vocal about this, a film that I can't see where the controversy really comes from. This film's two thumbs up.
It touches on a lot of current issues. Matter of fact, it's not even the fact that issues are current, it's the fact that it's just touching on issues that are relevant and needs to be addressed within the community. And and the fact that people are bashing the movie for assumptions, and even the fact that some people have seen the movie and are still bashing it just like makes you wonder what type of people they are. And I'm sorry, I hate to say that. I hate to say that because I looked at, like, if you look at the movie for what it's for, and if anybody's into the mental health field or anything, you would understand that, and you would actually enjoy the movie. Like, and that's where my problem comes in at, is that a lot of people don't understand the mental health population. It is hard to understand some people sometimes. It is, but you have to at least try to understand.
Yeah, and that's something we're definitely going to touch on during this review. Joker is a film that it was directed by Todd Phillips, who was the director of the Hangover movies. Go figure. Opening weekend, it broke a whole lot of records since its release. Opened up to over $96 million, worldwide. Well, in the States, U.S., and
even
on a $55 million budget, which, I mean, I say that's pretty tight. It starred Joaquin Phoenix in the title role of Joker. Zazie Beetz as
he did an excellent job.
If you've never seen Joaquin Phoenix act before, I've seen very little of his work. I think the last one I saw of his was the one where he was talking to Scarlett Johansson in a cell phone. This is huge. This is a good film. He really performed this role.
I won't say recognized. I won't say that just because of the character that the Joker is, and the differences in their bodies. So when I saw him in the Joker, I was like, hold on, that's not the same person, but it is. And I understand, what the actors have to go through in order to get into the role of specific individuals.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was very good. It's very disconnected from the rest of the DC films. So if you feel like you had to see Wonder Woman or Batman, you don't have to see any of the other films.
You don't have to see Batman.
You don't have to. You would never need to see Batman.
So. Okay.
That part of the movie broke me. It's very clear right now. That part of the movie broke me. But they
touched on, like I said. Okay, so they talk about the wealthy a lot, which of course you understand, with it being Arkham, so the wealthy and like you say, Arkham's a cesspool. So pretty much, he works as a clown, and so he's trying to ride the train home, and he gets picked on because he has an uncontrollable laugh, which is diagnosed as a medical condition. So he carries around a little card shows people so that they can, even though I think people should mind their business, but he has it just, in the event that somebody approaches him about it. So
yeah, and full disclosure, this is going to be a spoiler review because it's really kind of hard, and the movie came out a couple weeks ago. It's kind of hard for us to really talk about some of the aspects of this film without really spoiling it. Even just talking about it casually, I found myself kind of spoiling it to people who didn't see it before. So full disclosure, if you haven't seen Joker yet, this is a full spoiler.
Especially if, if any of those topics or subjects within the movie are of interest to you, or if you have a special place in your heart for anything that's going on, like, you are going to want to discuss this movie with people.
But even if you don't, it's a pretty clear cut message in the movie. It's not like a hardcore.
I can't say that. Message. I can't say it's a hardcore message because of the fact that I read and people walked out where you can't, to me, that's not appropriate to say that somebody could have gained a message from that, Yeah. Because I can't see where they could have walked out at. I mean, honestly,
and we'll touch more on that. Right now, just a little bit about the film and some of the just some of how the film.
I had to get out my feelings.
The Joker it centers around a gentleman named Arthur Fleck, and he is he's a street clown, I guess you would say, a street clown.
Yeah, he pretty much goes to different stores and different events.
Yeah, sign twirler. It kind of starts with him as a sign twirler, and these kids, they come and they take his sign away, and
they beat him up.
Yeah, he gets beat up, and so that kind of jump starts the plot from there because the next day he goes into the office. Yeah, his coworker offers him a gun, and the his boss really think that he stole the sign.
Yeah,
he thought he stole the sign, and they kind of just blamed a lot of stuff on him. You kind of see Arthur; he's taking care of his parent, his mother,
and trying to take care of himself.
Trying to take care of himself,
trying to be a productive person in society. Because they did say that prior to, he was admitted into the hospital. Mm-hmm. So he was admitted. He knows that he has a condition. Yeah. So he's trying to continue to take care of himself and become a productive member of society. Mm-hmm. So after he gets beat up, one of his coworkers assists him with a gun. It's a small gun. It's not heavy duty. So it's a little small gun. So,
I don't know my guns very well.
I don't either, but I know what an AK would look like. So that wasn't that.
It was a
small gun. It was
a small handgun.
So anyway, he's riding the train home after this long day. And so we have three wealthy people, pretty much what you would call Wall Street people. They're picking on a woman first, throwing food at her because she doesn't want to give them their attention. So he starts laughing because of his condition. So
his condition is very I know it's a legitimate condition. It's something I'm not very well versed on, but it causes him to laugh uncontrollably, and it happens when he gets a little nervous and everything. And that's a big part of the plot because his laughter was something that always kind of
it kind of irked
it wasn't just other people though, just with Arthur himself. It kind of always made him uncomfortable. It's a point in the beginning of the movie where he's laughing, and this is actually before they did the title too. He's laughing and then he started to cry, but still laughing.
So it doesn't matter if he was angry, happy, whatever the case may be.
Whatever pressure he was feeling, I think. Whatever
emotion he had, the laughing outweighed it, but it didn't necessarily mean he was happy.
Yeah, and it was pretty much from jump though. Even with that opening sequence of him laughing and then starting to cry, it really roped me in there because I kind of started to think that this is going to be a more submersive film than I thought it was.
Yeah.
It takes some influence from movies I haven't seen, but I've only heard about, such as Taxi Driver. That's only one I can think of. It takes influence from a lot of Scorsese movies that I haven't seen.
Yeah. So, and then it also touches on the fact that, okay, so he's going to see his mental health counselor, who's a state counselor. Mm-hmm. So, he's seeing her. She's trying to get him to, kind of express himself in ways that are not going to be damaging to himself or others.
Yeah.
So on his final visit with her, it happens because they're shutting down the mental health program. Mm-hmm. So therefore, he's asking how can he obtain his medication. There's no way for him to get medication. There's no way for him to seek any other assistance. So from that point forward, he's pretty much getting weaned off his medication that he has been taking. Finishes up the medication that he has. His body is being weaned off of it. So he was in a mental hospital for a reason, and we're neglecting the fact that he does not have medication. And
they cut the funding for the program, which was really a turning point. And that's pretty much all of that kind of leads into his I guess you would say his
identity.
experience.
I would say his identity.
I was going to say the experience on the train, because then after the experience of the train.
But.
Well, I'll touch on that in a second, because you did mention Zazie Beetz' character, who was a girl. I don't think they really mentioned her name in the movie, actually.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't recall.
Yeah, according to IMDb, her character's name was Sophie. Sophie. Sophie.
Okay, so they met pretty much. They live in the same apartment building, which is run down. So what we're presented with is the fact that she comes onto the elevator after him, and they're talking about how run down the building is, and wanting to do stuff like that. So he felt that he had a connection with her.
Yeah.
So throughout the movie, they're kind of showing him and her, being intimate and going out on dates, and
that's one part I don't want to spoil.
Okay, but I'm still going out on dates and all of that. I mean, I'm sorry. You can read what happened. The movie's been out. I mean, I'm sorry.
No. Like I said,
but we can't effectively. The way I feel about that, I can't effectively talk about a movie if I can't effectively tell what happened. Yeah. But I'm not trying to get into the details of what happened. But just the fact that it's hard now.
This is a tough.
That part is. I mean, okay, I understand. Okay, but what I will say is that I felt as if he had companionship, and that might have spoiled it, but oh well. I felt as if he had companionship and someone that he could talk to, like someone that would really be there for him. So I mean, I know she wasn't Harley Quinn. That's not what she was supposed to be. But and so you already know the identity of the character and the way the character's life plays out. So while I'm wishing, she's going to help him, but I know that it's not going to happen. But you want so bad for things to go better for people, Like, okay, well, but the fact that they broke down why things happen, he's adopted, all types of stuff. His dad, he thought, who? No father. It was a lot. He thought Bruce was his brother because his mother lied, found out his mother was crazy. It was a lot of stuff, and it broke him. It broke him down, and all of this is after he has no medication and nobody to talk to. So it broke him down, and so he tried to go into comedy, and I mean, jokes weren't funny. He has a different sense of humor, I should say.
Yeah, his
sense of humor is not what our sense of humor should be, or what inappropriate somebody would say.
Well, kind of backtracking on that a little bit. Part of Arthur Fleck's character is that he wanted to be a comedian. That was something that he was
practicing.
Yeah, something that he was practicing a lot. Something that he wanted to do. He idolized this TV host played by Robert De Niro. He had a show, and
it's a Franklin show.
Yeah, the Murray Show. Yeah. And he was watching it. It's a very cool sequence, I think. When he was watching the show, and he starts to envision himself actually there as an audience member, and then being embraced by Robert De Niro's character, Murray. And it was in that moment that most films would just kind of talk it out or kind of show it differently. This one kind of puts you in the moment with him. Just kind of see okay, this is how he feels. He idolizes this guy, and he wants to be next to him or be embraced by him or embraced by somebody. More than anything. And Murray was his idol, and
he just wanted what anybody would want,
Yeah, he wanted his shot. He wanted his big break, and he was always he kept a notebook, and the notebook that he wrote his jokes in.
Well, initially the notebook was for him to write his thoughts and feelings for therapy. So it turned into his joke book because when the therapist asked him about it, and he had some demented things in there, which caught her attention, and so he's like, "No, those are jokes." So with that, so it's so he eventually breaks out to the comedy club. Yeah, but it's not funny, but it lands into the hands of his favorite TV host.
Mm-hmm.
Who was making fun of him, which he does understand that.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that when the call came for him to come on the show, he initially understood, and even when the clip was being played prior to the call, he understood that he was being made fun of.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that he strongly believed that, but I think he wanted to overlook that. It felt like he wanted to overlook it, but you know.
Yeah, this film. It's a very heavy film. It's about 2 hours, a little over 2 hours in runtime.
Yeah,
a little bit over 2 hours in runtime. So there's like a lot that happens in this film, and to me, I don't know if you felt the same, but to me, not a second was wasted.
Nah.
And you know, just the pacing of it, it ran very smoothly. It went at a pace that wasn't too slow. It didn't die down too much. I can't really think of a dead moment in the film that really kind of took me out of it. I was kind of kept engaged in the film, and that's why, again, I really can't see a lot of the controversy that comes with this film. There was one scene in particular which I cannot stop talking about because it brought me to tears. And anybody who knows me knows I don't cry very easily at films. I don't cry. Crying is hard. It's this one part of the film where after he kills these three guys in the on the train, he gets off the train, he kind of runs into this restroom, and he, instead of panicking and freaking out like he would think that any other person would probably do, or even the gentleman in his situation would do, he starts to dance. And
expressive.
Yeah, this is something I've expressed the same sentiment after the film, during the film, and I'll express it now. I've never seen an interpretive dance before, and if I have, it has not given me that emotion that it had, because as he was dancing, I saw it as like a transformative moment. Like I felt like him just transforming. I'm someone who really kind of finds a way to empathize with villains sometimes, so that's, you know, maybe a little strange, but this actually kind of really, it brought me to tears, like legitimate tears. I was starting to cry. Because I felt his pain up to that point. For me, I was watching a man who went from, you know, I'm just trying to do what's right. I'm just trying to be this guy. But every time I try to do something, everything gets kicked back down. Everything gets thrown back in my face. And he has that one moment where he stands up for himself. Granted, not the greatest way to stand up for yourself through murder.
Shooting the three people?
Yeah, I mean, he kind of stood up for himself.
He stood up for himself.
He was standing up for himself.
And I don't, at that moment, I would not say that it was intent, because all he did was pull a gun out and shot them. They were like, come on. Like,
yeah,
I'm
that's
sorry.
Right. He was defending himself, and that was the moment where he, you know, when he started to dance, he started to feel free.
Release. It was a release.
It was a release, and I felt that. You know, it was crazy. And then from that point on, you start to keep seeing how he starts to change more into the figure that we know as Joker, which going down that road was just incredible. I mean, he finds out how his mother, you know, I think you said it already, how his mother wasn't actually his birth mother. And real quick, I have to give a shout out to Brian Tyree Henry, who many people know as Paperboy on Atlanta.
Oh, yeah.
He is in damn near everything now, and I'm very proud. So shout out to Brian Tyree Henry, a.k.a. Paperboy from Atlanta, because he played what I say is a pivotal role in this movie as well.
It was pretty good.
And
but
so
the fact that, like I said, he had to go obtain documents from the mental hospital for his mother. He didn't know.
He didn't know.
He didn't know.
And then what was crazy about it, he started to find out he had all this childhood trauma that came with him.
She abused, childhood abuse,
a lot of
abuse from, you know, domestic violence for the mom, child abuse. You know, it's a lot of different.
A lot. It was very what's the word I'm looking for? Very informative to his transition into the Joker. Was that moment where he realized that, you know, I think he says it, all his life he thought that his life was a tragedy, but it turns out that his life was a comedy. And it's dark. I mean, the film is dark. you know, for people who,
I mean, it is. It's a lot. It's an emotional film.
yeah,
It's a really
it's very
emotional
emotional,
film.
and you know, Sam couldn't say it any better
It is. Like I said,
than anyone. If you understand people who may go through, you know, mental health or have had traumatic experiences or anything like that,
psychological abuse, anything.
anything that could affect you mentally, then you see this movie and you can really feel, you know, and see just not just the parallels, because it's not really specified the time period that this movie takes place, but you can figure it's before the modern 21st century.
Now we're not in agreement with his behaviors.
Yeah, full disclosure.
Yeah, we're not
Full
in
disclosure,
agreement
because
at the end of the day, he's a fictional character.
Yeah,
and
he's a fictional character, and no one should condone the methods that he took to vindicate himself and become the
Joker. Like
the Joker. Yeah,
we don't agree with violence. We don't. I mean, we understand.
We may like violence, but we don't agree with it.
I'm not gonna say we like violence,
in the media,
but just in regards to this movie, just so you can have a general idea of how he became who he is.
Yeah.
Not who he was, but who he is. So like I said, we're not in agreement with anybody seeking gun violence or think it's okay to shoot anybody or to cause harm to yourself or others. It's not.
Yeah,
seek help, seek assistance if you have any of those thoughts or feelings.
Yeah, definitely. And it's very interesting because I think, Sam, you also pointed out to me that it was around Mental Health Awareness Day that this movie came out. And
well,
it's a very
well. I mean,
this film is layered. To me, it's layered. To us, it's layered. I mean, like I said, I can see where some controversy comes in, but to the point where people are like, you know, I'm getting up.
It wasn't violent until like the last 30 minutes. I'm so sorry because I wanted to see. I kept checking myself. I wanted to see. Like I was time stamping. Okay, so he committed this here. I'm not going to give details of when he did what, but just the fact that, like I said, everybody was so nervous about it because it was gun violence. But at the end of the day, and I'm going to say it, you can only control yourself.
Yeah, because I mean feeding into what she just said, the movie, if you're looking for like a lot of action and chaos and mayhem, that really does not happen until like the last
That's what I'm saying,
30 minutes of the movie. Like,
but it's not even that bad though. It's not like the way you would expect Joker to show out. That did not happen. It didn't.
Not at all.
It didn't happen at all.
Not
so that's what I'm saying. Like it was a good movie. I think it was a good origin for him.
Yeah,
it gave you a great understanding of him and the trials that he went to, which caused him to, like I said, he already had a medical condition anyway. So he's already diagnosed. So with that, it's like, you know, we have to make sure that people who are diagnosed, that we're giving them effective treatment. And that they are able to talk to those that are in their view for assistance. Because he really didn't.
Yeah,
so that causes a lot of problems too. But like I said, I don't want to make this a mental health or it's just hard not to.
It feeds into a lot of modern problems, not just mental health, but also just like how, you know, the rich get richer and start to trample over people, and
which was one of the
people
cause of riots and stuff.
Yeah. There was a nice little nod, kind of easing off of the serious pedal here. For those of you who wonder, okay, well, does this have any other connections to any other DC characters in this? There's an obscure nod. Outside of Batman. There's a very obscure nod to a comic book character known as the Rat King. And if you know as much as the Rat King as I do, then you will very much catch that nod very early in the film because it's very blatant and very obvious.
Because I was looking like, okay, so I mean, like I told Dave, I'm like, so I know it's a Joker film, but a hint at another villain, where you know.
Also, for another nice little Easter egg there, a nice little reference when they have the young Bruce Wayne in there. Duh, spoilers.
They have his origin, of course.
Little Brucey slides down a pole. And for anyone who has watched 1966 Batman, that is the most funniest thing I've ever seen, because Adam West's Batman slides down a pole and changes from regular clothes to Batman clothes. The little Brucey changed to Batman clothes. No, it wouldn't have been funny if his clothes would have changed just a little bit. like a jacket.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I said I was gonna. It's very. I don't want to be overly serious about this movie because it's a very serious movie. Like
it is, but I'm not about to bring Batman into this. I'm so sorry.
No, I just want little Brucey in. Little Brucey.
Little Brucey is Batman.
Poor little Bruce.
Little Bruce. And then you know what was crazy about the origin story is that it had. Okay, so before I tell what's crazy about his origin story, Joker has a big reveal, so he's preparing to go on the show.
Mm-hmm.
So he's practicing his routine, and so in the routine it's a knock joke. So anyway, at the end of the knock joke, he kills himself.
Yeah.
So anyway, he goes to the show. The night of the show, the cops chasing him and stuff because he's wanted in connection with murders. And, like I said, I'm not gonna give the details of the other murders that he's done. So the cops chasing him. So he goes to the show. He's got his clown makeup on that specific day.
The Joker outfit.
But that specific day, there was a whole event.
Yeah, because of his actions earlier on the train, it inspired people to.
It pretty much built his followers.
Yeah, it started to build his followers. People, started to dress like clowns and wear clown masks and protest outside of the Wayne building because Thomas Wayne was, I think I read somewhere that he was meant to be like a cross between the Clintons and Trump, which, okay. Fine. So, they were protesting, and the night that, Joker does his television show and, his show appearance and everything, he ends up killing the show host, spoiler. And
before that, it was funny because he's practicing. So he comes out on stage like, he's the man. Like, I'm like, so he comes out, he comes out like he's the man. He's shaking everybody's hand, frankly, tongue down.
Yeah, tongue down is very old lady. Shout out Joker. Shout out Joker.
Ooh, that was funny. So, he came into himself at that time. Because that's what I would have expected from Joker,
Yeah.
So he's sitting on stage, he's telling jokes, nobody's laughing. So then he becomes serious about, what triggered stuff and how he became here, and nobody's laughing.
Yeah.
Nobody's laughing. So, the host is trying to deviate, even though I think at the same time the host did kind of egg it on, which he did.
He egged it on.
He did, but he wanted the
ratings.
response.
Yeah.
So anyway, Joker kills him.
Yeah.
He kills him on national TV. So, after a while, he's obtained in custody, but he's really...
Yeah, the riot scene is actually is amazing.
And so the riot scene is pretty much saying that the riot scene...
Wait, I got this one.
No.
Remember the night outside.
Anyway, the riot scene is a scene where Bruce loses his parents and becomes Batman. So
no quotation around that.
That's because I put the quotations because this is their version of how it happened.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying this is their version, because I've seen several other versions where it didn't happen like this. So based on the Joker movie,
this is one
version of how.
One recipe to the same meal.
Yeah, but the story origin does not change. We're not going to talk about. I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, it happens, and that's all that doesn't matter, because the rest of the film is an incredible piece of art.
And so
I can't.
The only thing is that you're gonna have to be able to tell what's real and what's not real.
Yeah.
Like that's the tricky part.
It does play with your expectations. Like by the end, you'll actually kind of think like, okay, what really was real in this story? And for those of you who may know the Joker character probably better than I do, one thing that is very consistent with him is that his origin story is very likely to change if he tells it. Let him tell it. He became the Joker because he dropped an anvil on his foot. You would never know because he's never upfront about it. He always changes it. So, what would we rate this movie? 5 stars purely. It's a different dive.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's different. Like
for it to be a comic book based movie, it's a different dive into that type of genre, which I think, in this day and age now,
I think it's needed.
It's needed. It's needed. A film like this is needed, but not just a film like this, a comic book film like this, because this could have been any other film and no one would have batted an eye. But because you put the name Joker on it, and that runs to my long-running theory that this maybe started as a different movie, and because it was such a good story and they wanted to do something with the Joker, they just combined these two stories together somehow. So, I mean, this movie's amazing. I say you give it a chance. It is rated R. Would I sit my kids down and watch it? No.
I would.
I mean, at your own discretion.
It depends on the age of the child, but at the end of the day, children need to be aware as well. I'm sorry. Like,
at your own discretion.
I would say that, like I said, I would say let your child watch it. I would. Because it's not.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's no more violent.
Because they need to know as well. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's no more violent than Deadpool.
At all.
Actually,
it's way less violent.
This is just taking a turn because I actually haven't thought about that, and I'm going to be very quick with this. If you, for people who are watching the controversy and are feeding into controversy, if you believe that this movie may be the violent gore fare or whatever fare that you might think it is due to the media, Deadpool happened twice.
With no problems.
Deadpool happened twice.
We love Deadpool.
We love Deadpool.
We love Deadpool.
Amazing.
But
Deadpool's an amazing film.
Just to give an example, like, comparison, it is. Like I would let my girls watch it. They won't understand it now. But like I said, even an older child, they need to, this stuff that they need to see, because they need to know that, that they can seek help and that this does happen. This is real.
Yeah. It was a great film. Like I said, we both give it 5 stars, and I would be surprised if this doesn't get an Oscar nomination. Why do I keep bringing up the Oscars? It's an Oscar season. It's got a lot of buzz for Oscars. So
he'd give everybody one if he could.
I wouldn't.
I had to double check behind them, so
there are some that I won't.
I had to double check.
But yeah, no, this was an amazing film. Can't say much more about it without just talking about the whole movie, which
we did.
We pretty much did. We pretty much gave the tough skeleton of this movie. But I would recommend that you see it. I mean, it's been out for a couple weeks now, still growing strong, still breaking records. I think Gemini Man came out recently, and this is beating that. So it's running strong. It's as far as I'm concerned, it's still number 1. So it's running strong. Really good film. Really worth the price of admission.
And your time.
And your time.
And
yes.
your time.
Like I said, going into it, I didn't know what to expect. So I just knew with a name like Joaquin Phoenix attached to it. I know about some of his movies. They're always kind of like out there. So I knew it would be a more interesting film.
So, like I said, we don't condone the violence or, you choosing that as your course of action when you're upset or, just in a different mental space. So just seek some assistance. There's plenty of free private services that you can seek. And I would encourage that because everybody needs somebody that they can talk to and that would effectively listen without, having a negative input. So if you feel any of those emotions, you need to seek assistance. And it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to seek assistance. So don't feel that, you're not at your lowest. You're not. So
yeah, and definitely,
just seek it.
Definitely contribute to your local mental health offices as often as you can. So that said, that's all we have to say about
See the movie.
Film.
Give it a chance. Give it a chance.
Give it a shot.
Don't let the naysayers dismay. So
yeah. So it's still October. We have a horror film coming up. We do. We definitely have a horror film coming up. I know I've been asked about one, so I'm definitely going to get around to that one. And I've also, we're going to have a very interesting review. I've talked to someone. This is all news to everyone at this point. But there's going to be a surprise review, a very, very interesting one that I won't have much input on. Neither will you, but it'll be a good review. So, I like throwing surprises out sometimes, guys.
See that, right? See this, right?
Surprises. We're full of them.
So, we thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for tuning in. Remember to share this video, like this video, and continue to
review and respond.
Yeah.
And encourage. We thank y'all and have a good night.
Peace.